Okay. We're live. Here we go. It's the viewer suggestion today. So we're going to finish up some viewer suggestions. Let's start with a rugby. I've been working on the wizard character for my game. And I'm a little on the fence about what to make his attacks look like. Because, like, sure, you can give everybody, like, fireball and ice lightning. That's fine. But, like, just his normal attack. Right now, it's just like a circle with a star in it. And I'm like, that's kind of boring. So I don't know if I need to make... What does just arcane magic look like? Should it just be like a slash? Or maybe like a... and then a star? Yeah. I don't know what generic magic blast looked like. Because he's got just like a targeted like moonbeam. Which maybe that's what I should do. Maybe it should just be a little like a straight like from the sky. That could be fun. And he just hits the ground. And then he's got a like a push, like a force push. And then he has a like a call down, like a starfall. Or a blizzard. Or just like shoots a shit ton of stuff from the sky. Yeah, purple and blues. Corvus, welcome in. I think purple and blues are smart. Is this a spell or an area effect? It's technically an area of effect. So you get a small little targeter. It's like if this is your character. It's like, doot, doot. You have the hat. You have a range in which you can put the circle on the ground. You can move it around, and then when you click, it just like... So, it's a very tiny AoE. And then the big one's bigger. Jordan, welcome in. Wearing basic armor. Okay, yeah. Welcome in, Jordan. I'll add that to the list. I'm still recovering from my cold, so hopefully people can hear me today. This is about as loud as I can get. His cane, he does have a cane. I guess I can show people what I did. Oh, it's in Discord. What am I doing? Corvus, welcome in.
Hello. Streaming a little bit early today.
Yeah, jump rope is feeling really bad, so I decided to try to start streaming now so I can maybe end a little early and then take over when she wakes up. Oops. There we go. Yeah, Jordan, I don't understand that word. Where does that word come from?
What is it?
Yeoman?
It's.
Is it a...
I know the term. I can't remember what the term means. I think it means like. Sort of a class of people
Okay.
in England. Like a social class.
Look at Elliot.
Says two meanings: a man holding and cultivating a small landed estate, also called a freeholder,
Oh, okay.
or a servant of a royal or noble household, ranking between a sergeant and a groom.
Do, 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 do.
The most common. Never mind.
Go for it.
No, I can't share the picture. It's a stupid
Oh, okay.
different save file when I downloaded it.
What if he throws the cane like a... That doesn't feel like basic magic, Bri. That feels like a very specific character.
This is probably like the most go away kind of common. Never mind, McCain said it exceeds the limit.
It's bigger than
Thanks,
10 megs or
Discord.
something.
Apparently,
That happens. I do need to put rugby back into the game. Maybe he'll just have hand magic.
Summons hands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Those are like the most common yeoman people kind of think of if they know the term.
Okay.
Useless people who work for the Queen, King of England.
Middle management.
I don't know if they don't do anything. That's the thing. It's like they're just symbolic servants that just don't do much of anything. Like most people in monarchies. Sorry.
Human archers had it worse than crossbowmen? Interesting.
Yeah, you could. In England, you can tell who was like a longbowman from their skeletons because of the poundage that they had to draw for the war bows. Like, warped their skeleton and muscle structure.
If you only ever practiced the one arm.
But when you're fighting in formation, you kind of only practice with one arm.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think what was the law? I think boys of 8 or 12 had to practice every Sunday after Mass with the longbow by law. And so they could be called up during war as levies.
Ooh, excuse me. I'm gonna get a drink. Be right back.
Mm-hmm.
I need water and I need caffeine today, I think. So I need water and caffeine today.
Yeah. Get caffeinated water.
Yep.
Cup tea or coffee.
Energy water. Could be rich.
I am pretty sure you could probably buy caffeinated water.
It has to exist somewhere.
Yep.
If
Probably
not,
way worse for you than any soda.
if not patent pending, someone get me the patent on that, and we'll make billions of dollars. Okay, let's see. Last week, Elliot gave us $5, so we're gonna do the Scarred Elven Sorcerer first. There should not be any ads on this today. And then we'll go from there.
Found it.
Water Joe certified? What?
That's caffeinated.
Clean her energy drink. Oh well.
Sugar-free substitute for coffee, soda, and energy drinks.
You could just take a caffeine pill at that point, I suppose.
Yeah. Or just drink coffee or tea.
Yeah. Okay, elf. Scarred elf sorcerer. Let's do something like this. Oops. What the hell did I hit there? Shift? Okay, that's not what I want. Control? No. I hit a button and it like... That was weird. I don't know what I did. My tablet doesn't like my headphones. That's really strange. What's the point of decaf coffee? The whole point of coffee is to be a hot energy drink. Yeah. Habit.
Because some people love the flavor but can't have the caffeine in it. Due to heart issues or medicine.
Yep.
Old people generally don't drink a lot of caffeine.
Harsh, man. Harsh.
You're not old. I mean, like, people in their 80s and stuff.
I'm just sensitive to caffeine. I'm one of those people on the back of the can. It's always really funny when I talk to like my doctors and stuff, or if you read the back of the cans, like people who are sensitive to caffeine or such and such, blah blah blah, shouldn't consume more than X amount of stuff. And it's like, I don't get anywhere near that. And they're like, yeah, you shouldn't. It's like, that's terrifying.
I don't. Only time I've ever felt bad from caffeine is from the 2 times I've ever took a drink of an energy drink. I just no. It's the amount of sugar and the double caffeine plus the weird thing they put in the energy drinks. It's like, no, this ain't good for me.
Have you ever had the original Red Bull, like the syrupy shit, instead of the weird fizzy stuff? It's super good. It's super good, but it's bad for you.
Yeah, no.
Well, it's bad for me, I guess I should say.
Bad for everyone, considering they probably don't sell it anymore.
I don't know that I have a reaction to caffeine at all. I bet you do, and you just also have ADHD. Would be my guess.
No. Like, I could drink tea or a soda before I go to bed and be fine.
You probably also have ADHD.
Or I've drunk so much caffeine it just doesn't affect me anymore.
That's not how that works, but that's fine. I know a lot of people like that. Like one of my family members like cannot sleep unless they drink an entire Coke, like a big one. Just like that would kill me. That would straight up kill me. But no, it's just like if people react differently to stimulants and things. So biology is weird like that.
I mean, I prefer not to, like, drink one, because that means I'll have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. That's the other thing that, like when I was first starting college, I did a whole report. Like, I was doing a journalism majoring at the time. And so I had to basically write I did an expose, I'm going to call it, on caffeine use and, like, the overuse of caffeine in American society. And so, like, it was really interesting, like, seeing like all the bad side effects that a lot of people just kind of hand wave aside, and like how much caffeine can affect small children specifically, with people just being like, "Oh man, my kid is just a pain in the ass." Like, stop giving them caffeine. Like, just stop it.
This could just be other things maybe misinformation I've heard, but you could correct me or not. But I feel like I've heard that, like, research in caffeine is actually not that well studied, or, like, all the effects of it. Like, it's studied, but, like, not to the extent that it could be.
It's not a it's
there's like
naturally,
it makes people hyper or keeps people awake. That's it, and just like there has to be more to it than that.
There's a lot of studying that's been going on for it. The problem is it's caffeine is not inherently dangerous, is the thing, and it naturally occurs in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So like right there, it's hard for the government to be like, oh, you know, we have to. It's like blueberries, right? Like, there's not a lot of studies about the chemical components of blueberries unless people want to do something specifically for it. So there is an inherent look at, like, okay, how much should we give people? When does it become toxic? When does it become toxic for most people? But it is a stimulant. It's a natural stimulant, and so that's kind of the weird part of it, because people react differently to it. So a lot of people with ADHD, when they're taking ADHD medication, they're taking stimulants. Because it allows them to basically catch up to what their brain wants to do. And it's weird. It's super weird. So some people sleep when they're on stimulants. Some people don't. Some people's heart just like skyrockets. Other people's slows down. And it's very strange. So it's hard to say exactly what it does to everybody. But for most people, caffeine, I believe, inhibits inhibits your body's ability to say, hey, I've had enough sugar. And so you just keep burning and you keep having more energy. Like your body just keeps your metabolism turned on. Is a really, really simplified way of saying what's going on. Like, that's it. So you feel very energetic even though you're not. Like, it's not giving you any more energy or attention. And I think the studies that I have seen say that there's a level of cognitive increase when you take stimulants, but only, like, it has diminishing returns. At a certain point, like, you feel like you're doing a lot more, but you're actually performing worse. And it's the same thing with sleep deprivation. Yeah, so super weird. There are no, like, for sure things for everybody. And it really is just a case-by-case basis for what you should do. On the whole, caffeine, not great, not terrible. Better than booze. But still something you should take in moderation. And a lot of people have problems with that. I went from being very anti-caffeine for a long time, and, like, I didn't drink soda or anything just because. And then when I started working in the kitchen, it just slowly crept up on me. So I guess everybody has ADHD. No.
But maybe.
But maybe. It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. That's it. Most people are a lot of these things.
I'm mostly kid.
Yeah. Most of these are, like... That's the problem with the internet right now, is that there's so many people saying all these things that, like... Yeah, most people have a lot of signs of ADHD because it's a spectrum of things that people exhibit. And the problem is that everybody has these effects and like... I was going to say attenuations, but that's not the right word. Inclinations. But when they become so debilitating that it becomes a disorder is when you should be medicated for it, right? So, like, that's the biggest thing. It's like, oh yeah, I probably have some ADHD tendencies, but they're not preventing me from sleeping or working or having meaningful relationships with people, so I don't need to go to the doctor for it. But if you do, yeah, go talk to your doctor about it. Like, hey, you know, I'm so anxious that I can't talk to people. Period. Like, well, let's talk about it. You know?
Would you want to talk to people?
I know I often have multiple topics going through my head at a time. Yep. Yeah, don't self-diagnose. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, no.
If you having too many topics running through your head at the same time is stopping you from doing something, maybe go talk to a professional about it. But I can't focus, right? Like, tell your doctor about that, and then they'll ask you questions.
Yeah, I've heard, like, people say, like, if you have, like, full conversations in your head, that means you're somewhere. But it's like I don't believe that because I've been doing that forever, and no one's ever said anything because I've had been tested at least once, and I'm just like, that seems a little... It's like, who doesn't have conversations in their head?
Yeah, I do all the time. Tendencies, not disorder. ADHD tendency is not disorder. Like, I think the biggest thing about that is, like, really for most people, caffeine is a substance abuse problem. And that's usually an underlying cause of something else, right? Like, for me, working at a restaurant, like a lot of people in restaurants have substance abuse problems. I just focused mine on caffeine, and a lot of people do. It used to be cocaine and and a couple other different things, like or alcohol. Because really, what it is, it's dealing with stress. Like you're trying to compensate with stress and being too tired and being hurt all the time with something.
Yeah. Like I would rather be addicted to caffeine than to smoking cigarettes, cocaine, or alcohol.
Yep, that's what I was saying. Like alcohol is a much worse thing to abuse than caffeine is. Yeah. But caffeine can have its own problems. Like,
yeah. Like, do you want your heart to have a irregular heartbeat, or would you rather your liver shut down?
Yeah. Like a big problem for me is I used to be really bad insomniac. I just couldn't sleep all the time, and that was before I started taking caffeine. And then the problem was I started doing stuff. I started actually like working out more, and I started getting back into a good rhythm of sleeping. And then when I started working at the restaurant, my body hurt so much that I stopped sleeping, which made me tired, which made me start taking caffeine, which prevented me from sleeping, which made it worse. And then it's just like you get on these cycles. When really, when I was an insomniac, it was because I think I was drinking caffeine like passively, like I had Cokes and stuff during lunch, and I wasn't realizing how much it affected me because I didn't put it together that little amount of caffeine could make me restless during the night. So
yeah, like my grandmother barely consumed any caffeine. Like she would get like the sodas she would get, and she didn't drink a lot of soda. She would get like the caffeine-free Pepsi or the 7-Up, which is a lot of lemon lime soda is always caffeine-free.
Yeah.
I don't know why, it's just tradition.
I was a big 7-Up kid, so I wouldn't drink caffeine.
Yeah. Because like Sprite is caffeine-free, 7-Up is, Pepsi Company's new sort of rebranded Sierra Mist is caffeine-free.
Correct, yeah.
Which I found out why Sierra Mist doesn't exist anymore.
Oh yeah, we talked about that, I think.
Yeah,
the Pepsi bought out the... Go ahead, you tell me what you think, and I'll tell you what I think.
So there was this girl, TikToker.
That's right.
Who did kind of sort of semi-spicy stuff, advertising for her other page, and she went by the name Sierra Mist. Pepsi sent her a cease and desist that you using that name is affecting our brand. However, Pepsi didn't because Sierra Mist sales were bad because it just wasn't great, and they allowed the trademark of Sierra Mist to lapse, and she bought it.
Yep.
The TikToker. It's like, actually, no. Uno reverse.
You owe her money.
And so,
instead of paying the settlement, they just scrapped it.
Yep, they kind of scrapped Sierra Mist and then kind of re-released a new one called Star, which I've had it, and I kind of prefer it over anything else.
Mm-hmm. Do you use sugar to treat stomach issues? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they did.
Interesting.
They used to make worm medicine sugared, so kids would eat it.
Mm.
And back in the medieval period, and specifically Islamic dominated countries, sugar was seen as a medicine. Same in in China, it was always used to essentially kind of help to balance out a lot of times the bitterness of the medicine that you were taking.
Good.
Hence why cough syrup is just sugar syrup and alcohol. Yeah, the worm medicine that they used in the Victorian period, they used the same method when they made sugar plums.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah,
The
the
sugar plums
coating, the
have-
sugar coating it.
Yep,
That's where that comes from. I forgot about that.
because sugar plums were never made with plums. That's a expression.
Anytime I get sick now, I go buy ginger and I just make ginger tea.
Mm.
I have no idea if that's actually doing anything, but it's spicy and I like it.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, it's such a folk remedy in like a lot of countries. I don't know if like any scientist has like given it any like
Credence.
real thought.
Yeah, it's one of those things again that like it's really hard to do science on. Like I said, blueberries or ginger or like you really have to distill it down and break it down. Which is why caffeine we know exactly what caffeine does to people. But it's different for everybody, like the extent to which that happens. That's why you have lists of side effects. Not that like everyone will get this thing.
Like I do know, like a
But
lot
with
of
ginger,
times,
it's
like
that's a shitload of different things in ginger. So like, what's actually doing any of that stuff?
yeah, maybe it's the combination of all those things.
Exactly. So you can break it down chemically and then test the chemicals, but for the most part, it's anecdotal when you look at stuff like that. I've been drawing this for a long time, and I don't know if I'm actually getting anywhere.
Or science is dumb and just won't listen to people.
So that
I'm mostly joking.
I know you're mostly
Let me
joking.
just say.
I know. But I feel like that's a misconception that is kind of like feeding into the misinformation stuff that's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
Because really what that is it's like, it's not that anecdotal evidence is good that it exists, right? Like, it's good because, hey, I did this thing and I did X thing and Y happened. It's like, cool, go ahead and try that, I guess. But the problem is, scientifically, you can't say for certain that is why that happened, right? And so it's not saying that anecdotal evidence can't be true, but it's not, I don't want to say it's not good evidence. It's not
Empirical
evidence, right? And so you can't use it as empirical evidence. And that's the problem. So, and people don't understand the
put
difference
together a
between
big study.
Yeah. You have to be able to control the situation enough to really start making claims with it. And that's the people think don't get.
Also, there is a level. I think there is, but there's also a level of like expertise that just scientists kind of won't dumb down, or they can't dumb down to lay people to be able to ingest, because if you're not an expert, you're not going to understand anything that's being said, so
Right.
it's just going to. So I think
That's basically what
I think both sides need to make headway into meeting each other somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, that's basically what
In this regard,
It's basically what my master's thesis was about in college. Was the
because like Neil deGrasse Tyson could
hey kid,
teach me until he's blue in the face about quantum physics or astrophysics, whatever, and I will never understand it. Because
sure, I love Star Talk because I can understand it, right? Like,
yeah,
I kid.
I mean, maybe he was a bad example because he
No,
actually
actually,
does
I was
try
going to say, Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of the few people who has found a way to talk to the masses about science, right? But he has a lot of technical jargon, which is a problem. And like Bill Nye is a little better because he focused on like, how do I explain science to children? Really smart. And so a lot of the stuff that I looked at, especially based around video games, is like, there are so many scientists that want to use video games to like get their information out there, and it's like informatics and different effects of that. But the problem is they don't understand the necessity for video games versus a simulation. And so they'll basically embed lots of scientific data into a thing and not have it be engaging or entertaining at all. And so people just disengage with it. And so that's really the problem, is like, how do you get people to be engaged enough with something to care about it? What are you doing?
I'm trying to take him back.
Well, you're not paying attention. Yeah, he's fine. The other part of it is the opposite side of that is what we're seeing now, which is the I'm going to say the hyper clickbaity nature of it. And so scientists are like, what if we are a little bit clickbaity, where we're not actually being truthful, and then we hide science data in it, and that makes people not trust science again. So like, I keep clicking on them. I keep seeing things like 1 million toothed creature found in Amazon rainforest, or like creature with 1,000 eyeballs.
A snail.
Yeah, it's a snail. It's a fucking snail. Or like, creature can regenerate from anything. It's like, it's a newt. They found another type of newt. It's like, this is stupid that you're doing it this way and just making people like not trust scientists, because now you're falling into the kind of weird, unethical nature of it.
I guess my question is that scientists, or is that article writers and bloggers doing that?
It's the, I'm trying to think, I can't think of the word for it. Sensationalism of science, right? Because and hold on, Ethan asked, would you consider the Portal series a good explanation of the scientific method? A little bit, but not really, because they're not teaching you science. They're sneaking science in there.
It's just an escape room on a massive scale.
It is just an escape room, yeah. So, on the other side, sensationalism, yeah. Did you remember reading about black plastic being bad?
No.
Okay, so a few months ago, an article came out saying, "Hey, the black plastic utensils cause cancer." And it's like, well, we kind of already knew that plastics cause cancer, so what? And they're like, no. These things are giving off 0.6, I'm just making this number up, 0.6 parts per million of this thing that will kill you at 0.06 and give you cancer. And they're like, oh shit, like everybody should stop using black plastic right now. And the news, like that went all over the internet, because the news stations are like, oh no, all of these things, super bad, throw out your black plastic, stop using it, bad, gonna kill you. And then a few months later, someone went, oh, there was a typo. We accidentally said 0.6. It's 0.000006. And it's like, that's a huge error. And they're like, yeah, our bad. But the thing is, like, how quickly that disseminated is dangerous, right? But that's what scientists want. They want their paper to be seen. And so some of them are trying to get on that sensationalist bandwagon. And the question becomes, was that a real typo, or did they want to generate buzz? And so now there's this new side of like ethics inside of science, of like, how true should you be with your papers? Hi, kid. And this is something that's been going on for a long time. Like, what do you name your paper to make people look at it, right? You can't, because if you just call it like science G135 gene expression of this, it's like no one's gonna know what the hell you're reading. But if you call it black plastic gives you cancer, people start reading it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that's just like it's the clickbait argument all over again, but for science, and that's important too. They're redoing yellow journalism. I don't know that term, but
yellow journalism is just another way of saying sensationalism.
Okay.
Where it's close enough to the truth that they can't be sued, but it's not exactly.
Like the other one I keep seeing is like scientists discover warp drive, or scientists discover teleportation. It's like, that's kind of true, but like if you're in the field, that's not what's happening. Like it's in the field, but it's not actually what's happening, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll some dice. Kid, what is going on? You hear the dice, now you're excited. I just rolled double 8s, and I don't have 8 suggestions left.
How many suggestions do you have?
6. Barrage Dragon, Dragonborn, Desert Elf, Gunslinger?
Yeah, that's mine.
Barrage. Which one's the Barrage Dragon?
Did I save the picture of one yet?
So what is a Dragon Blooded?
So that's essentially like a Dragonborn in
Okay.
Pathfinder. It's a versatile heritage.
Got it. It's the dragon, half dragon.
Yeah. That's a Barrage Dragon.
I love the way their faces look. It's so good.
I was watching the live stream where they were talking about them because one of the writers for the Draconic Codex, the Barrage Dragon is kind of their favorite one.
Okay.
And they were talking about how they have like kind of roiling balls of energy kind of like floating underneath their skin.
Okay.
Because what else are you going to be shooting out? And that they even said like that is like reflected in like the dragon blood people who are related to them, where like they will have like kind of like glowing veins that kind of seem to pulse and roil, which sounds really gross.
Nice.
And like she talked like how in world people are kind of like are not sure if the barrage dragons are biological creatures or something else because they're a little weird.
They look a little like elemental, but I could also see them being like magma robots. Oh yeah, they look a little robotic on the butt.
Because she also said like they also eat lots of iron, as that's like they break down the iron to essentially fuel their magic bullets that they shoot out from basically all their body.
Are they just a bullet dragon? Is that what they are?
Yeah, they jokingly call it the bullet hell dragon.
Okay, I dig it.
I was like, that would make a great swashbuckler, not swashbuckler, but gunslinger.
Yep.
Like a pistolero, just guns blazing everywhere.
Ooh. Having fun, kid? Please don't slap the keyboard.
I also like that it has almost like a bit of a coral design. Like the spiky protrusions almost look like coral.
Yeah, especially around its neck too. That's got those like kind of like vein tubes.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do?
Everything.
I want to give him a hat, but I don't think it would work.
Unless you make them a little bit more elven.
Yeah. Are they supposed to be elven? Did I do that wrong?
Yeah. I said desert elf.
Oh, desert elf. You're right. I just made him a dragonborn.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Don't put it in your mouth, kid. All right.
I was just making sure do it right.
Don't put it in your mouth, kid. We gotta go back to this guy for a second.
I started playing. I downloaded Arena yesterday.
Magic Arena?
Yeah,
Okay.
and because I already had an account, I got a bunch of
Cards.
just a bunch of like packs, and I got like for each set they normally give you 3. One of them I had 6 for. And I was like, wow. But I got some of the Final Fantasy cards, and I got one of the characters from the latest game, Final Fantasy 16.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he transforms into Bahamut.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay.
Yeah, 16. All the characters are like they're basically they physically turn into the
Icons.
Icons. Yeah.
Primordials or whatever. Primals.
Primals. There we go. Okay, now we're going back to the elf. There we go.
Elf on the shelf.
Kid. Hey! You were going to smack your head on the desk if you keep doing that. Stop.
Dion Lesage.
Oh, I know what I did wrong with this guy. Hold on a second. I erased the back of his head. That's why it looked funny. I don't want his hair to be poofy either. His ear's too low.
When I saw that who it was, the card I pulled, I felt a little like judged. And it's like, of course, Magic's going to give me the gay character from Final Fantasy 16.
That's funny.
It's like, thanks.
To be fair, I think they all are. I'm not sure.
He definitely is because he kisses. There's a scene where he just straight up kisses a dude.
I was thinking of 15 when they went on the weird road trip.
Yeah.
Bro road trip.
Bro trip.
Bro trip.
Sorry, I'll see myself out.
Why can't I draw hair today? Maybe that just makes
Have you ever been able to draw hair? Sorry.
I don't know.
That was me.
There's a reason to draw monsters. They're easier.
So I had a moment last night on Instagram where I saw this reel about this person. It's definitely meant to be like joking, look, haha, funny, but like I really wanted to like actually this person was like you're being wrong. They were talking about like Revelation.
Okay.
And how like how the Four Horsemen, they were like interpreting the Four Horsemen as like the Greek gods, and
Oh, I've seen that, yeah.
and just like, and the part that bugged me was where they were talking about the Lake of Fire deal and where Death and Hades was thrown in. It's like, but Death and Hades are not the same thing in this context. Hades is the grave. Like, it's the underworld. And the Lake of Fire isn't hell.
Two things. One, sensationalism.
Yes.
Sometimes people say
I stopped myself. I was like, I literally typed it out. I was like, and deleted it. Like, I'm done.
The other part of that, though, is that that's kind of your area of expertise.
Yeah,
And
and like,
you're not like, if you are an expert in those things, instead of saying actually, just be like, I would take it this way, and then give your
yeah,
2 cents.
wasn't gonna say actually, of course,
Right.
but like it was.
I think there
I
is
started out
this.
like. Go ahead.
There is
Finish
a
yourself,
place.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. There is a place on the internet for that kind of discourse, right? Like that's, and so I think that what you should do is you should look at what they're doing, ask yourself, is this person actually putting information out that you want to engage with, or are they being sensationalism? It's like, are they doing this to bait people, or could this actually be a good conversation? And at that point, social media is good for that. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of comments like that, which is great. I get a lot of comments on YouTube where sometimes it's just people being pedantic. But a lot of times people are like, I would actually take it this way, and then they explain what they're talking about. It's like, that's cool. I didn't think about it that way. And like I like having those conversations. So sometimes it's worth speaking up, you know?
Yeah. And like, I guess I'm so used to like YouTube because like I tried to respectfully make a comment once and it just devolved. I'm just like, all right, never again. But it was like I started out like as someone who has studied this academically because I've taken courses in apocalyptic literature.
Right.
It was one of my classes in college, and just like a lot of it's allegory and never meant to be taken literal, of course.
I mean,
and
that right there is a good sentence to start with.
Yeah. Like, and I made the comment that when the Old Testament or the Torah was being translated into Greek, because that was the thing, people were kind of interested in it, who didn't speak Hebrew. They translated a Hebrew word, Sheol, which means like the grave, meaning like, or literally like the underworld.
Okay.
And so in Greek, they use the term Hades, which is what Greeks use for the underworld. They called the underworld also Hades.
Right. You send
so
somebody
it's just
to hell, not to the person hell, but to the location.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
And there's a lot of weird interpretation about like what the lake of fire is. Because people are like, oh, the lake of fire is hell. I'm like, no. Not always. Because there's an interpretation because of the weird word that's used, like the term I believe is Theon, which is both fire but also divine. So it's like, yeah, it gets complicated because it was probably never meant to be like taken as a literal thing, and even like church fathers were like, do we include this one? Like even Augustine was like, maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because people,
I think this kind of goes back into the
then as in now, people kind of worry too much about it and not about living, a good life.
Oh, they're actually worried about being thrown into a lake of fire?
Yeah.
Got it. I think this is a really good example of what we were talking about earlier, right? Like, scientific communication with layman's is tough. And that's true for any area of study.
Yep.
You're like the sorcerer. Thanks, Elliot. I'm glad. And that's kind of the thing you're trying to get to is, and there's some really good like Reddits out there like explain this to me like I'm 5. Like the problem is that a lot of things can't be explained to a 5-year-old.
No.
It's like that's not possible. So like there's are some areas of science and of theology that like this will require you to learn something. Like you have to go a little farther than that. And that's why like Neil deGrasse Tyson's so good about it, because he's like, I can explain some of these things to you, and some of these things like it's not something that is easily explainable. Like it's like saying that to someone is sometimes the best thing you can do is like, this is not something that I like, me explaining this to you is going to make you more confused.
Yeah.
So
because like that's the thing,
there's context required.
Because like that's the thing, like with certain things like Christianity doesn't necessarily have it, but like in Judaism and like in Buddhism and Hinduism, there's things that you just like if you were in a religious school context, like traditionally speaking, you would not be taught this until you're like at least 30 years old or older, because it's just you do not have the years of experience and knowledge to like understand what is trying to be said in like these quote unquote esoteric teachings. I was like, the reason they're esoteric is because they're damn hard to understand.
Yeah.
It's like it's not meant to like belittle you, but it's just like people who do study them have issues with them because it's like, how do we interpret this? And that's why things like the Talmud exists in Judaism, where you have rabbis like literally arguing with like people for 2,000 years on the same page about how to interpret this one little bit of scripture.
Sure.
But yeah, it gets complicated because like everyone has such a pop culture understanding of the Bible.
Yeah, and like
At least in the
there's
West.
so many different versions of the Bible, and
Yeah.
I think that's what you're talking about, pop culture, right? It's like everyone has their idea of what the Bible is, and most of them aren't the same. So it's like,
Yep. Because a lot of Protestants for the longest time only really knew like the King James version, and like that was a highly political translation. That is wrong in some cases. Because it was written in like the 1600s.
I remember having an argument with someone in college, and they started like, I mean, I didn't never study the Bible a lot. Like, I can't tell you where things are in the Bible.
Yeah.
I
mean,
don't
neither
care.
can I, and I had classes.
Yeah, but like this
I
person
had
was
to
like
reference stuff.
quoting shit at me out of the Bible, and I'm just like getting pissed off at them because they're just being an asshole. And so
Yeah.
I went back to my room and I had a Bible and I opened it up and I was like, that's wrong. Like it's just not the same. And then I realized they were using a King James version of the Bible, and I was like, you and I can't even have a conversation about this because
Yep.
like you're so dead set on this thing
That
that is
particular
not,
version.
yeah, like we're arguing two very different things. So
Yeah, people who don't know, Catholics have a different Bible than everyone else. So do Orthodox Christians and other people, and there are more books in it.
yeah. I'm still pissed off that the Pope took out the books with the griffins and stuff in it. That always made
Which
me
one
mad.
was that?
I don't know. It's a Catholic urban legend. There's a bunch of books in the Bible that have like dragons and griffins and like other magical shit that all got taken out in like the 16th century because the Pope was like, this is too weird. People don't like it. Let's get rid of it. It's like, no, we want that. Bring that back.
I was gonna say Daniel has dragons in it. So does obviously the Revelation.
Yeah. Supposedly there's more, but it's urban legend.
Yep.
Should this guy have hair? I don't think so.
I know in medieval Latin translations they like call certain animals like unicorns and stuff, but like
Yeah.
it was kind of I guess maybe a misunderstanding.
But there are some weird things about translation, and then there's some other things about what was it?
I guess cultural misunderstanding is a thing as well, because it's a 5,000-year-old book,
Yeah.
and written by plenty of different people, and also yes, Bionic. I hate Dante's Inferno for that specific reason. Because it's just like, it's so hard to separate people's idea of Dante's Inferno from like what is said.
Sure. A page
he
break
was-
can totally change the meaning. Yeah.
Yep. Oh god. And that's another thing. It's like Christians cut up like the books of the Bible into verses, but historically they would just been one run-on long letter or scroll.
Sure.
And I get why, but like because how they broke them up, it sometimes messes with the meaning of them.
What was the last
Like-
one we were talking about? I'll think about this.
One that I was kind of fresh in my mind because I saw something about it is people talking about how you should submit to the government as governments are God's ordained instruments of His divine wrath or whatever.
I've not
Definitely a
heard
lot of
this.
heavy lifting in that, and it comes from Romans. And the thing you gotta people forget about Romans is it's a letter, not like a book. And if you remember at the very beginning, Paul is writing it from a jail,
Oh,
criticizing the Romans. So it's just like, it's a little tongue in cheek.
I think the one I was looking at is like someone was talking about the only way to get into heaven is through me, and just
Yeah.
like the way that's worded and the way it's written and the way it's read are all different. And it's like complexities that are required for understanding what someone said and meant thousands of years ago in a different language from a book is like
Yep.
fucked up.
One of the greatest ones I love talking about is, I assume you've heard, like, it's easier
Over a
for a
camel.
rich man to enter.
Yeah.
And so many rich people have tried to interpret, oh no, that's actually meant to be like this gate in Jerusalem, and like that had a particularly low door that you could fit through, but a camel couldn't. I'm just like, just patently false, just full of lies. No door ever existed, no gate existed,
What was it?
and it's just people are just trying to,
justify their actions.
justify being rich and not taking care of the poor.
The hell was I watching last night? I saw something that was funny. Was it Louis C.K.? It might have been Louis C.K., which is, problematic in itself. But, like,
Yeah. I occasionally like his stuff. Just like grumpy old man yelling at world.
right. He can be an asshole and still be funny.
Yep.
He was reading a Bible passage about Jesus cursing a fig tree.
Yep.
And what he was saying.
That's also out of left field.
Yeah.
It's just like, huh? Where's the rest of this context?
Yeah.
None.
So I do think, I don't know, it's funny.
Yep.
I had a long conversation with my mother while I was on vacation. God, I don't even remember what we were talking about. My mom and I we fight about religion and politics, but we're both relatively on the same page. But we just get really heated about it. So when I say we fight, we're not like in disagreement. We're just like, rah, kind of both pissed off. And we were talking
Basically
about
the same thing.
Yeah, we were talking about the new pope, and
Uh-huh.
she was saying things like, "Oh yeah, the media keeps misconstruing about the old pope, like wanting to add women to let women be priests and like all this other stuff and like LGBTQ stuff. Like the media just totally blew that out, saying that he was doing all these things." And I'm like, I never heard that. Like I never heard that. I definitely saw some post where like Pope wants to make women priests. I'm like, I don't believe that, and I looked it up and it was wrong, right? Like
He wanted to make them deacons. He wanted to allow them to become deacons. I believe that's what it was. I could be wrong.
I think that was something he had talked about as a possibility, but really what he had said, and this is what my mom was trying to get across, was like the old Pope was basically saying that like we need to let women be part of the church. Like we need to bring women, let them work in the diocese as higher officials, let them have a say as to what the diocese does. It shouldn't only be run by old white priests, like old white men. And then, but yeah, nowhere in there was he suggesting that women should be priests, right? It's like, no, the ordination is a sacred thing that he didn't want to change.
Yeah.
But women should be a bigger part of the church. And then the media kind of blew it out of the thing to try to, like, I think her argument, I think, was to radicalize the Pope to make him seem more left than he was. And now that the new Pope is not that, my mom was really upset because she's like, they're trying to make it seem like the old Pope was so left, and now this one is super conservative and like bad. And I'm like, well, there's a big difference between the old Pope, which said things not necessarily like we should give women all the power of the church, but saying women should be part of the church, and this new guy who has never once said anything about it, right? Like the omission of it is kind of important, because he could have very much backed the Pope when he said that, but he never did. Yeah. And so I think that kind of thing is important when it comes to kind of the same thing like with media and trying to explain things to laymen's. It's like the way you talk about things and the way you express the things that are important to you kind of say a lot about things. So let's priests get married again. Whatever.
He is for that. That is a statement that I've read from him, like quotation from an interview, that he will be in favor of that if everyone else is okay with that.
Hey, do you guys care if I get a girlfriend?
Because there are priests within the Catholic Church who are like referred to as Eastern Rite Catholics. So like Catholics who live in Ukraine or Greece. So they have all the trappings of an Orthodox church and everything, but they're like aligned with Rome. They're allowed to get married.
Interesting.
And it's just like, but because that was a big sticking point for them. It's like this, not so much like theological, but it's just like, this is what we have always done. You can't just rip that away from us because you're your own personal tradition. And like, I think it was John Paul II was like, you're right.
Religion. Everything is absolute until you decide that it's not.
Because a lot of it, like in the Western churches, it was just because they were like aligned more with like Augustine and like people like Tertullian who are like celibates.
Mm-hmm.
And like that, their ideas permeated the Western half.
Have you heard about the not application, the influence of sex on mathematics?
No.
Okay, so there's a most. This is an old anecdote, so it could be total bullshit, but it's something that I was taught in college. No, I'm going to say it differently. You know how you hear that like who got the apple drops in their head? Isaac Newton. And
Newton.
All these other people that like are big names in mathematics all did these crazy things in their 20s, right? And people are like, man, how do you achieve something world changing in your 20s? You're not trying hard enough, work harder, right? Like that's the vibe we get all the time, because these people were in their 20s. The thing is though, like most large jumps in mathematics or mathematicians' studies happen when one, they're in college and they're pushed to do it, and they're young enough that they're trying to find a wife. So it's just like, I need to do something huge and amazing, and so it's just like trying to prove yourself to find a mate for 18 to 20-year-olds trying to get married. So there's this huge thing where a ton of really cool jumps in mathematics happen around people who are like 20, in their 20s and 30s, between their 20s and 30s, because they're trying to make a name for themselves, which is just like sexual posturing, right? Like they're trying to prove that they're bigger and tougher than anyone else, but in mathematics. And so I think that's really funny and kind of interesting. Because then later on in life, they've already proven this, and they don't have to prove anything to anybody else. They're not trying to outdo anyone, and they don't make these huge jumps in discoveries anymore. So there's a saying in mathematics that if you haven't done it by the time you're 30, you're not going to.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Oppenheimer sort of falls in that. He wasn't trying to find a wife. He had a mistress when all that stuff was going on.
Well, when you're young and you're like, you're vying with all the other competition, right?
Yeah.
And so that's just, the same thing applies in mathematics as it does with just like general youth posturing, I guess is the way to look at it.
Yeah.
I did not explain that well, but like,
I think I get what you're meaning. It's
when you see all the
peacocking.
young men like in football and like trying to do all these things and be like professional athletes, the exact same thing happens in mathematics. There is a zone where people in their 20s are trying to show everyone else how badass they are, and that's when they do all the cool shit. But it's because they're competing with each other. And so there's an argument that it's all based on damn it, I can't think of the word. It's a Darwinian word. I was going to say sexual performance, but that's not the right word.
No. I get what you're meaning.
Yeah. What's up, kid?
It kind of reminds me, though, I was watching this comedian.
Fitness, that was the word.
What's his... Josh Johnson? And he was doing a little podcast interview with someone I watch all the time. And he was talking about how he and it is kind of like, we started getting a little bit more of a name of himself as a comedian. He started getting invites from colleges. And some are really obscure colleges.
Is it Lapel Day? Yes, it's Lapel Day.
And he went to this technical school. But he had to preface, this isn't like your state, vocational technical school where you learn welding or electrician work. It is sort of like the technical school of MIT.
Okay.
Which I guess MIT is technically a technical school, I guess. And they were explaining to him after his set was done, because they took him out for dinner and everything, and drinks, that there's a hierarchy. And the bottom of the rung are biology students and chemistry students.
Okay.
And the disdain they had, the higher tiered degrees had for them, it's they're barely scientists. They ain't doing real science. It's oh god. Yeah. Nerds even have dumb hierarchies.
Oh, 100%.
When left alone. And they asked him so what are the higher tier things? He's he couldn't remember. It's something like rocket scientist or physicist, quantum physics or whatever, and just that's not real science to me, quantum physics, because that's just witchcraft masquerading as science.
I hate geologists.
Yeah, they probably do. Let's be honest. I was that's not real science.
There was I saw a meme of you can tell what kind of scientist somebody is based on what they do with this rock. And so it's if they weigh it, they're a chemist. If they smash it and burn it, they're a physicist. If they lick it, they're a geologist.
So mean.
So funny.
But yeah, I'm just dude, you're nerds. Yeah. I don't think you have much room to be dissing the other majors.
Elliot said survival of the fittest, but yeah, it's sexual fitness is the word I was looking for, and it really is just everybody trying to prove to everyone else, puffing your chest up and doing your bird dance. It happens everywhere, including in mathematics, which I think is great. All right,
this guy has some massive neck muscles.
I was trying to draw this this over here, the big.
Yeah, I get what you were doing.
And you said you wanted to have the little pulses of light going through. So I'm yeah, we're just gonna give him giant tube neck.
Yep. Not complaining. It was just like that. An observation.
Yep.
Basically.
He looks super fucking weird, and I love it. Goob, 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 goob.
I was like, I was trying to think of the name for like those neck muscles. I was like, I don't know what those are called.
Technically, they're not. Well, so there's the two things you see on people's necks all the time are actually the ligaments.
Okay.
And then the muscles are on the back.
So there's like no muscles like in the front then?
No, not really.
Oh. So I guess it's just the trachea and arteries.
Yep. No. So you have your trachea, right? You have your neck thing here. We'll draw a little skull. And then going from here down to your clavicle, you have these big tendons right here. And then those have muscles attached to the back of your head. And when you get a headache, that's usually what is like pinched. But these are tendons, and that's why they stick out of your skin. Because they're not actually like attached to the skin. They are.
Okay.
There's a little muscle on them, but it's mostly the tendon. And then from there, you have muscles that go down, and then you have muscles that go back, and then you have muscles that come over on your shoulders. So you can see it more if you look at like the back of someone's neck. You have like this kind of thing going on. And then that's what makes up a neck. Can't draw it very well. There's a muscle there. Okay. I'm slightly wrong.
Only just slightly. But still more correct than I was.
Sternocleidomastoid. Yeah, okay, so it's attached to your jaw. The muscle. The back of your, behind your jaw. Sternomastoid.
I do know the term mastoid
Yep.
as being related to jaw. To masticate.
Yep. The SCM is what they call it. Yeah, I thought like half of that was just tendon, but excuse me, does not seem to be the case.
Okay. The more you know. More insufferable you become. Kidding. Mostly kidding.
The problem with muscles are all bandies, right? Like they're just big. They're a bunch of bands like this, and they go, and they try to do this as much as they can. They go wham. So like the end of them, this is where your ligaments are. At the end of the muscles, and those don't flex. Those are just rigid. And so that's why when people get really, really like really thin and kind of buff, and they flex, you get that like weird like Popeye muscle.
Yeah.
Because their ligaments are always this long, and the muscles just like super bunched.
Yeah, I've seen like people who do like those. They're the weird muscle competitions,
Yeah.
and like I'll see guys walk out, and it looks like you can see like, I don't say ribbing, but like it looks like grooves on their muscles. I'm just like, it's really disgusting to me. I'm just like,
that's
nope.
just, you can actually see the muscle fiber because they don't have any fat.
Yeah.
So on the neck, it's that's kind of what I was talking about. Like when you look at this muscle, it's a very, very long muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And you can normally see people's, like where their collarbone is. What you're talking about is you see this hollow, because the ligament right here is pretty long. And so when these muscles contract, it pulls the skin tight there, and there's nothing there in your neck. So you see the ligaments right here at the bottom kind of protruding because they're technically a rigid structure.
Yep.
Kind of like your collarbones are.
I can only imagine the pain they feel.
Well, the bodybuilders?
Yeah. But also, like, there are people who, like, can't produce, like, body fat on the not outside, but, like, I'm trying to think. Like, all their body fat is, like, internal, like, around their organs.
Brown fat,
like,
yeah.
They don't, but they can't they don't get fat around their muscles. And I remember seeing this interview with this guy, and he's just like, life hurts. It hurts to move. It hurts to sit down, because like he has like no fat on his muscles.
Oh, interesting.
And it's just like it hurts. And like he like part of his thing is part of his problem is he is also it comes with being extremely hungry. And like he would just eat and eat, and it would nothing would be gained. And because I think it's because his body doesn't process the fat, and it just keeps it internal. I can't remember. I could be a little bit wrong on that, but like yeah, he talks about how it's incredibly painful to like not have any fat on your body. And just like, I'm kind of glad I'm a bit chonky.
Interesting.
I don't know if I would want to be sitting down and just feel pain from being sitting down. Or moving.
Sorry, I was trying to look up this. I know what you're talking about. I was trying to figure out what it's called, but
Yeah, I was like, I can.
I think that this is one of those instances where like that's a very rare condition.
Oh yeah, I know it is.
I can't imagine having zero. Yeah, if you had zero body fat, you would basically die. Like your body,
Yeah.
like yeah, you'd be a hummingbird at that point. Just like don't consume something.
And like he kind of was where he
Yeah.
was constantly eating.
Yeah,
And
there's a
they finally found like a type of medicine that could like curb that hunger basically, where it kind of tricks your brains like, I'm not starving.
What was I doing? Oh, kangaroo man barbarian. I don't know what kangaroos look like.
They look like rabbit dogs. Just kicking holes in people's chests.
Yeah, I mean, like you hear people like that. They're like, "Oh, I can't get fat," and you're like, "That's not fair. I want that. I want to eat donuts all the time." But like, no, it sucks. Like
Yeah.
most of the time, what people mean by that is they have a high metabolism, and they don't actually eat that much.
Yeah. But the few people in the world who do not gain, like having fat on their body, yeah, no, it must be rough.
Sensationalism.
Sensational.
Is that a disease that could be cured by cure disease?
Maybe.
That would be a really funny curse to put on somebody. Like, you now have zero body fat. Your character just becomes, like, immensely cut. But they have to eat every 2 hours so they pass out.
Yep. That sounds like a disease, like a gluttony demon would put on you.
Yeah.
Curse.
Eat or die. What was the... shoot.
I take it back. Kangaroos aren't rabbit dogs. They're weird rabbit, almost camels. They have like a weird camel face.
They're pretty strange.
Well, everything in Australia is strange. So
It's not automatic breathing. What's the other one? What do you have to
I
think
feel like
about?
automatic breathing is one of them.
No, there was the guy that does the Punky Doodles does all the wizard battles.
Yeah.
He's the one where you have to manual breathing. There we go. Did I say that, or did I say automatic breathing before?
Yeah. You said automatic breathing.
Okay, manual breathing.
Yep.
We were just talking about bodybuilders. Let's just draw this. Let's draw this kangaroo man. So ripped.
There's some pretty ripped kangaroos.
Yeah, they're a weird thing.
Kind of, I kind of find it funny that in Pathfinder there's like a giant kangaroo, and just like I don't want to see that. That would be terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, I am so sorry. I've had this picture open for so long now. Okay, Brian took off, so I was afraid he was talking and I missed it. Manual blinking. I swear that happened to me one summer.
They had to blink manually.
Yeah. You ever think about something too hard and then...
I mean, there are times where I'll like sit and like think, and just like stop breathing.
You realize you're not breathing. You're like, hold on, what happened there?
Yep.
Yep. You might have sleep apnea.
I probably do.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that like have a really hard time sleeping. It's like, yeah, it's because you don't fucking breathe. Like,
I do snore like a lot, like really loudly, like
yeah,
causing water vibrations. Glasses of water, probably.
Yeah. Your life might improve if you go to the doctor and talk about it. It is amazing how much of your life, like, I suffer a little bit from depression. Like, that's just, it is the way it is. But I've never really dealt with it because, it doesn't matter. It's not that bad. But I know a lot of it comes from, like, when I don't get enough sleep or when I eat bad. It's like, God, I'm really depressed today. It's like, I need to actually go to bed tonight. I need to not stay up until 2 a.m. And a lot of people aren't able to notice that or actually go to sleep because they have stuff like sleep apnea. And it's like, yeah, if you actually got a full night's sleep once, you might feel a lot better. It's weird how those little things start stacking up. But a lot of people don't realize they have sleep apnea, which is just basically when you're sleeping, you're not getting enough air, and so your body keeps waking yourself up. Because it's like, hey, wake up, you're not breathing. It's like, oh yeah, okay, no, I'm fine.
I mean, I don't wake up a lot.
It can cause restlessness or like tossing and turning, or you just wake up tired. Wake up.
I know.
Like, I used to wake up dizzy. Like, I'd wake up like I wasn't getting enough air, and a lot of it was allergies because my nose was just so stuffed up. So allergies, like heavy allergy medication, helped me a lot with that. And then when I started working out more, I realized like, oh, I can actually breathe better at night now, just because I'm a little more active and I'm a little more tired when I go to sleep. So things add up. It's weird. Sorry.
Or what?
I took that in a weird. We went in a weird direction all of a sudden.
Oh.
Everybody go, self-improve yourself. Talk to your doctor today about stuff.
I just don't want to be put on like, it's like, oh, it looks like you're gonna need to be put on like a CPAP machine. I'm like, I don't want that.
CPAP machines are. My dad's the same way. My dad needs one, and he's like, nope, I'm not doing it. But the few people I do know that have them have like life-changing. But like, I don't know if I could sleep with one. I mean, if the alternative was die, I could sleep with one, but yeah.
Yeah, like if I was like, if you don't have this, you will die in your sleep. It's like, fine, but if I don't have to, I would prefer not to.
Yeah, it's weird when you look at that kind of stuff because, like, especially for me, like, I talked to my doctor about the pills I'm on for my cholesterol because I have a genetic condition that makes me have high cholesterol. And he's like,
Yep.
I'm like, is there any way I could not be on these pills? And he's like, try being a vegetarian for a full year and we'll rerun your blood tests. And I was like, I don't want to do that. He's like, then you're on medication. I'm like, okay. And that's really the thing, right? It's like, oh, you don't want to be on a CPAP machine? Cool. Lose 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Buy hypoallergenic stuff. Have air filters in your house. Move somewhere else. Like, there are tons of things you can try to not be on the CPAP machine. Most people
Don't live with chronic smokers.
Yeah, don't live with chronic smokers, right? Like it's just like there's so many things that add up that it's easier to just be on a CPAP machine. So, CPAP machine didn't work well for me. You need to return it. I need to return it. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I've had a lot of people talk to me about it, and they were like, yeah, like the first 3 months with it was awful, and I couldn't sleep with it. But then after that, I got used to it, and now it's like, if I don't have it, I can't sleep. It's like weird. It's weird how that happens. So. I know this is supposed to be a kickboxer, but I just wanted to draw a big beefy guy. We should give him like the thing that Corvus hates here.
Oh.
The 90s.
It's just weird
like,
because, like, you rarely see it, like, in artwork. I found it once in artwork.
So...
And it was very weird, like, that particular thing.
It's... I mean, it's in the picture you just sent, right? Is that what you were talking about? It's just... yeah, that guy's got bandy chest muscles.
Yeah, there's, like, I'm okay with that, but, like, the people I saw, like, where it looks like they've, like, purposely, which they probably did for the competition, like, dehydrated themselves.
Yes, yeah.
And it's just, like, it looks so weird and unhealthy to me.
I mean, I hate the bronzing side of it.
Oh, yeah,
like
they look like weird bronze statues.
It's like, you look like a cooked turkey. What have you done? The mask would become unsealed. Oh, gotcha. You have a beard, I assume? I've heard the beards make it hard.
Yeah.
I was surprised how I bought an air filter, like an air purifier for my room.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, that made a huge difference in my life. And then, this is really sad, but after the cats passed, about a month later, I was just like, I don't wake up in the night anymore, like coughing because my throat is so dry. I think I was allergic to my cats. I think I was very allergic to my cats and just didn't realize it, and I lived with them for 15 years.
So, like, honestly, there's a lot of, like, artistic license in this statue here. Like, this is about the only type of statue I've seen that, like, shows that bandiness, like, historically speaking.
Oh, yeah, wow.
And it's just, like, it's such a weird thing, because, like, you look at, like, classical Greek and Roman statues, they don't have that. They kind of...
Right.
But, like, for some reason, these, like, Guardian Neo statues just have these, like, bandy muscles.
So I think it is...
It's, like, it's so odd.
I'm kind of wondering if it's, like, Buddhist monks.
Well, Buddhist monks just...
There's two types of musculature, right? Like, and so I think the first one is very... We've moved away from the 90s, like, heroin chic look, where it's just like zero body fat is the sexiest thing in the world, and now we're finally back to, like, healthy body fat, even on bodybuilders, is okay.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, I think part of it is, like, looking at this statue, right? Like, this guy is not built like a huge buff dude, right? He doesn't have a huge rib cage. They've just extend. I can't talk today. My nose is so fucked up. This is still pretty much a slim body form. He's got the gut though.
Yeah, it's weird. There's a lot of artisticness to it.
Yeah,
that's not like real biology.
I think this was modeled off of a very thin person, like a very skinny person, and then bulked up.
Muscles
up, yeah. Because, like, yeah, you don't see that very often. They used to, like, in the 90s, I'm thinking of, like, Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find an example of what I'm talking about. Here's a good example of it. This is I think the same thing, right? Like, it's very much in the 90s and early 80s, like, being that super, like, zero fat skinny was the thing, and then people buffed them up. But now if you look at Wolverine, which is, I assume this isn't from the 90s. Like, it's so different. It's so different. And so I think it very much is just a kind of a stylistic choice based on what people think that things should look good at the time. Like, this is a good kind of middle ground for it. This is kind of what I would expect to see nowadays. Just like, I think that looks way better. Because that first one I posted, like, really you're seeing each muscle on his rib, and that's just you wouldn't see someone that buff with zero body fat. Like, that would be so hard to exist that way. So yeah. And I think they even did that, like, in the early 2000s with like the X-Men movies and superhero movies. And I remember watching a bunch of interviews with people talking, like, you can only really look like that for a couple hours, being so dehydrated, and then it, like, you die a little bit. Yeah. And so they stopped doing it. They stopped doing it because it was so unhealthy for the actors.
Yeah, because, like, I mean, it's a big reason why Chris Evans stopped acting in the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, I can't keep doing this. It hurts.
Yeah. And so I think that's the big thing, right? Like, it's just like, it's the artistic shenanigans of not possibility. But, like, oh, how do you make the muscles look bigger? And I remember, this is kind of fun. When I used to draw as a kid, I would kind of, like, I would just draw the muscles because I love drawing superheroes. And so I would draw something like this, and then I would draw the muscles, and then I would just draw, like, the little pieces in the abs. And, like, that was the character I drew, right? It's like, yeah, and they got 3 here, and we got this. And I would just draw these weird, like, meat suits. And then as I kept evolving, I was like, okay, and then this goes like this. And then this is what all my characters looked like. They all had these, like, super bandy muscles. And it's like, I was drawing no fat. I was drawing zero fat. And it's just like, this is all structural. This is all structural. And eventually you get to the point where it's like, how much non-structural material do you want to draw? And hey, look, all that stuff fits together really well. So it's fun how much of our brain can, like, extrapolate stuff from lines and shapes. I love it. Bucky. Yeah, oh man. I hate it. I hate that show so much.
What is it?
Is it just
Baki?
Yeah.
Baki is kind of gross.
It's gross. Yeah, it's a great way to put it.
Like, not like
it's grotesque.
Vulgar gross?
Yeah, it's grotesque.
Grotesque.
Yeah. It's like, what if we take muscles and we just draw them? This is one of those. I'm gonna post in the Discord here, but, like, this is not a good drawing.
Why does he have balloons on it as abs? Sorry.
Why does he have balloons on his shins? Why are his shins way too long? Why is his torso so short? Why is his, like, there's...
Why does it look like I don't know. He may have his foot raised up, but like his foot looks incredibly weird.
Yeah.
Like they're tall.
This is 100% something I would have drawn in high school. This picture. Right? Like, I get this show. I totally get this show. And it's fine. But, like...
It's a very mediocre show as well. It really is just there for the craziness of the...
Yeah. It's like a muscle power fantasy, right? Like, that's totally fine.
It's like the straight man's version of JoJo.
Oh, is it? I totally assumed this was meant for, like, people obsessed with naked muscle dudes.
I mean, straight men are probably more obsessed with those than gay guys are.
That's fair. You know, that's...
Like, the alpha bros.
Yeah, no, you're
like
right. You're right. JoJo is 100% the... Yep, I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I prefer
like,
JoJo to Baki. There you go.
Yeah.
It also makes it so that you can draw very well. I've seen some artists who can't line up muscles at all. Yeah, muscles are tough. Muscles are tough because they wrap. They wrap around things. Mm-hmm. And it's even I.
These kind of just are
his
like...
shoulder's a little fucked up, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I could change, but it doesn't matter.
These guys are just literally in, like, inflatable muscle suits.
Yeah, and they're, like, in the few clips I've seen of the show, like, they're wobbly and stupid.
Yep. I think it's only on Netflix.
It is. It's a Netflix show.
And I've heard mostly mediocre things about it.
I'm gonna post one more.
Oh, God.
It's got Captain America vibes.
Yeah. It does have that one bad artist, Captain America. Does he still do comics? Or has he at least gotten better?
I
can't remember.
He might be dead, but let me...
Oh. That's also fair.
Yes, he's gotten better.
Okay. That's good at least. Cause that's atrocious. I'm not great at art. I'm not saying that I'm awesome.
No, the thing...
I know that's just bad.
The thing that happened with Rob Liefeld is, like, back in the day when comics were being produced, is they were being produced very quickly and cheaply, right? So, like, he got hired very young to be a comic book artist. And, like, a lot of people are like, oh, he didn't deserve that job. He's like, no one else wanted to do it. Like, he did it. He did the job, and he started in the industry, and he made it possible. So, like... Yes, that's a horrible image. Someone could have stopped it. But, like, it also read, right? It read Captain America. You see the star on his chest. You see his shield. He's huge and bulky. Whatever. But then the longer you look at it, the weirder it gets.
I was going to say, it's not hard for something to read Captain America, though.
No. But also, like, this, like I said, this image, this is drawn on paper. Like, this is old. This is the old way to do it.
Yeah.
And he did it. So, like... Yeah, it's not good.
He has straight up gorilla proportions in the chest.
Yeah.
Just massive rib cage. You could probably take one breath and walk through the ocean and be fine.
He's right. He might be dead, broke out of context in the wild. Oops.
Been a while since we had one of those.
It's been a while. Put it on Reddit. I haven't been to the Reddit page in like a year.
I kind of forgot we have a Reddit.
Yep. Let's fix some art, everybody. I mean, my art's not great. Fuck it. But, like, God, a lot of this is so good. Each individual piece is super good. It's just not together.
Nope.
Like, really, this should be here, and then that would put his other arm over here, and then his head needs to do this. Put his head over here. Oops. Why didn't that work? Put his head over here.
It's also, he kind of did what I did, try to show the body both
Forward
in
and
the front.
sideways. Yeah.
Yeah, I am guilty of that. That's like the Egyptian way of doing profile.
So, like, the biggest thing here is, like, you can see this is the chest, here's his belt, here's his waist, which means his waist is right here, and his neck is, in the original, his neck is back here. So, like, his spine's doing this. Like, his spine should do this. So his head needs to be way more forward, and then you can give him the big old rib cage. And then you can give him his other arm over here. And, like, you can see, like, that little bit of correction would have changed this picture. Right? Like, that's the problem with it. And so I'm pretty sure what he did is he started drawing the shoulder and the head and the body, and, like, he wanted to have this cool thing, and then he did this for the thing, and then he kind of forgot, and then he just finished this part of it, and then he finished this part of it. It's fast, it's cheap, but, like, the line work is great, the inking was great, and I think the thing that a lot of people don't realize is, unless, I don't know if he did all of it, usually you would have somebody line it with a pencil, then you'd give it to someone else who would ink it, and then you'd send it off to someone to paint it. So, like, 3 people checked off on this, and they went, well, that sucks, but it's due in 2 hours, so fuck it.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
When I used to doodle in high school, all, like, my human characters literally kind of looked like this. Like, the chest, like, turned outward to the front, head always in profile because I can never draw 2 eyes on the same level.
Profile heads are so much easier to draw.
Yep. So it's just like... It was a choice I
mean,
I don't think I was
drawing,
fully conscious of.
I love drawing this pose. Just, like, super throw your hips out because it's fun. We all do that. We all default to, like, poses that we like doing. Like, it's just the way it is. So, I don't know. It's 10:30. It's 11 o'clock now, I guess. I'll probably call it here. Can we do one more? Could probably do one more. I'm almost out of paper. Let's do one more. Human soldier, arms, crossbow, arming sword, dagger, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This is the British dude, right?
Yeah.
I love the row. What? I remember having a bunch of action figures of those proportions as a kid. I could never stand up on their own. Yeah. Yeah, the superhero proportions I love. I love superhero proportions. This is just a dude, though. Like, do I fantasy this up, or is it just a dude? Like, this feels almost more like fan art then. Than a fantasy character.
He's just a human fighter. With a crossbow and sword. This is something I drew back in high school. And it's so embarrassing to share it.
It's not bad. I'm sure I've drawn something like that before. Probably the same shirt too.
Stupid eyes are always an issue. Also, I rarely showed ears. Ears were always covered by hair.
Sure. Yep.
I can never find a way of drawing ears that I liked.
Ears are complicated. Ears are complicated. Hands are complicated. Bleach shirt? That could be where it came from, yeah. I would probably draw the same thing, which is great.
I definitely watched a lot of Bleach in high school. I think I was even was looking at like an pose Ichigo was doing.
We've talked about that, I think, to nauseum, about high school art teachers being like, don't draw anime. It's like, yeah.
I didn't have an art teacher, so.
Well, what I was getting at is like, everybody loves drawing anime because it's simplified animation, like simplified art.
Yeah.
Which is why I think anime is great. A great thing to start drawing because it's simplified.
Yeah, like
and then you can always add more later. But I think the biggest problem is that people just copy shit. It's like, that's not the right way to do it.
Yeah.
I hate pageantry. I'm just going to put that out there right now. If I got a job and it was like, here's your uniform, and it was a big white collar, I'd be like, do I need this job?
I'll say, I don't know if that's necessarily pageantry.
Well, it's like it's a poofy uniform that just does not seem to have any purpose. The one on the right seems better.
Oh, yeah. I kind of forgot what you were referring to. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wasn't talking about your shirt. That's my bad.
No. I just thought you were talking about like you just went into a different topic altogether. They're like, I hate pomp and circumstance. I hate fancy stuff. I was like, we know, Brooke. We know.
You're not watching the live stream. Tell me you're not watching the live stream without telling me you're not watching the live stream.
I wasn't, because I was looking up another picture.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, I'm drawing on the wrong layer anyways. Okay, we're going to start over. I'm going to fantasy this up. I'll try to keep the same costume, but I'm going to fantasy it up.
Maybe cut down on the roof. Though, like, if I remember the request, I think they were going for more, or hoping for more of, like, a peasant soldier, because that's apparently another meaning for them.
Okay.
So, if that helps.
Do a little more peasantry. I didn't vote for you.
No voting in a monarchy or whatever it is.
Some tart handing out swords.
God. I can't forget that tart was an insult.
Right. Which I assume always, like, I'm assuming it came from just being some sweet little thing.
Probably.
Not something more devious that I maybe shouldn't use for the term, but...
So it seems to be shortening uh, from a contraction of sweetheart
Okay.
and or a contraction of sweetheart and the shortening of gem tart.
Okay. Yeah.
So
We
tart.
came from the cookie. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently I think it's a cottony thing.
How do you keep berries?
You preserve them.
I feel like I pick my strawberries from my garden, and then they go bad in like a day.
Yeah, soft berries like that, I guess you could freeze them, but like if you don't, like if you plan on like using them for things outside of just eating them fresh.
That's true. I could freeze them.
Um, but yeah, like berries are something that don't keep well for a long time unless you do something to them to preserve them, i.e., turning them into jam and preserves.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just knowing you probably don't have a huge patch of strawberries that is
No.
worth canning.
Nope.
So,
I could do one jar at a time, I guess, but
yeah. But yeah, like soft berries like that are just generally hard to like keep long times, especially if you like. I think it's almost better just not to put them in the fridge.
I think that's my problem. I think I put them in the fridge and they get too cold and they just like break down.
Yeah. Because there's certain fruits that they recommend don't putting in the fridge. Like bananas, just don't put bananas in the fridge.
Right.
Think like mangoes you shouldn't put in the fridge. Same with kiwis.
I put kiwis in the fridge, but I think putting kiwis in the fridge they don't ripen.
Yeah.
I've drawn a Mountie.
Does they do right?
Something. I need to get the Patreon reward sent out today. I didn't get the video done this month. It makes me sad.
Well, I don't even remember what the video was supposed to be. Sorry.
Skittermander. It was supposed to be a Skittermander video.
Yeah.
Just didn't happen. Got sick twice.
Well, you got another month to put it out before Starfinder comes out.
That's true.
I know that's not exactly a helpful thing for people who procrastinate to say, but
Yeah.
you've also been sick for like half this month.
Yeah. No, it's been bad. It's been very bad. Been sick. Went on vacation. Got sick again. My fridge is stupid.
Okay.
It just like it. I think it might be because I like overpack my fridge sometimes.
Mm.
So like certain parts of it will just freeze solid, and it's like, why? Why did you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. top of our fridge, like the top shelf in our fridge, often like kind of like if it's all the way in the back, we'll freeze stuff. It could be worse. You could be like my a certain relative of mine that just gets stuff and sticks it in a fridge or freezer and just leaves it there for like half a year or more.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, I was helping take out stuff they had in the freezer. The freezer was a wall of stuff. I was like, how does this even keep anything cool?
Yeah.
There's no airflow. Stop trying to play Tetris with stacking food in freezers, people.
The other week we were talking about all swords being swords. What is an arming sword?
So an arming sword is a one-handed sword.
Okay.
So it's also tends to be a little bit on the shorter side compared to like a long sword.
Because this was, I believe, Jordan's. I assume this was supposed to be Russian. Not Russian. I'm sorry. Roman. I think a lot of Jordan's suggestions have been Roman based. So maybe this was supposed to be a Roman peasant fighter, not a British. Maybe that would have made a lot more sense. Did Romans have crossbows? I don't know if Romans had crossbows.
I think Romans had some crossbows. They weren't particularly great.
Ballists?
I mean, the Han
they were called?
the Qing dynasty, not the Qing, but the Qin dynasty in China had crossbows.
Okay.
So they've been around for a while. This tends to be like the most archetypical arming sword.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just not super long, not super short, kind of just meant for stabby stabs. If you remember the sword that the knight character used in Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
The starting sword for that class.
Okay.
Which is a great sword. I used it for the longest time when I played.
Too. That was the problem with Dark Souls. Is like a lot of the time the starting gear was the best gear.
For a good long while.
Yeah. Especially like if you pick the knight, it's just like, cool, I have armor, and everyone else is like, well, I have nothing.
Yep.
Knight's armor is kind of like the best for a very long time until you start getting boss armor.
But yeah, they're going back to all swords were just mostly called sword.
Right, swords are swords.
That was the case for most of the swords that exist. There were a few that had specific names just because they were such radically different blades
Right.
from the normal. Like there's things called messers, which is German for knife.
Yeah, I remember those were called that because swords were illegal.
False, but
Okay.
that is like the common like myth about them.
I thought everybody weren't allowed to have swords, so they just made their knives really big.
Yeah. Well, it turns out there were places where you were legally obliged to have have a sword.
Okay.
You were just not allowed to carry it out in the public in the city.
Gotcha.
Unless you were called up for guard duty or as a levy. So it may come from that. Another wild theory is that the Knife Maker Guild went in on the sword business, but because they weren't the Sword Makers Guild, so they started making big knives with knife handles.
Which that would make sense if everyone was required to have one.
Yeah.
That they wanted to like edge in on that. That would make sense. This is technically a sword.
I think probably the best thing is it was probably a cheaper alternative to getting a bigger sword.
Yeah.
For people, so hence why they're kind of short swords.
Or it was more versatile than a sword.
Yeah, because they kind of look like some of them look like Bowie knives. If you've made the Bowie knife like 2 feet long.
Yeah. All right, I think I'm gonna call it there. I'm running out of steam. Some weird sketches today. Okay, thanks for hanging out today, everybody. Sorry it was such an early stream, but it is what it is. I'm going to try to get the Patreon stuff done today and mailed out tomorrow. I'm going to be working on the game in the Discord a little bit later, probably. I might go take a nap. I don't know. But that's all I got. So stay happy, stay healthy, keep your dice on the table. We'll catch everybody next week. I'll post another suggestion on Monday, and we'll go from there. We're going to start working on the game stuff. People wanted an ooze character. I'm not sure if I'll get that done in stream or just on Discord, but we'll try to work that out. I'm still working on the mage's like ultimate move, and then I'll move on to the ooze man. Then I have a few other characters that we're going to add too, that like Corvus helped design, and I think we had one other one. Did Brian make one? Maybe it was Burning. I don't know. We'll work it out. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
I can't turn it off. I don't know where the button is. There it is.